YouTube, this is Warbles on a lot here with the Kurt Vonnegut question. Now I'm assuming that most of you people have heard of Kurt Vonnegut, but some of you may not. Kurt Vonnegut was a United States Army Marine Corps sergeant. He was captured by the Germans at the Battle of the Bulge in 1944. He was taken to a place called Dresden. And while he was in Dresden, he was bombed by the British Commonwealth Air Forces. On the 17th of February 1945, about 670 heavy bombers firestormed Dresden, and 137,000 people died. As a result of his experiences in Dresden, Kurt Vonnegut wrote a book called Slaughterhouse 5, which was justly famous, won him prizes, and many years later, in his dotage, perhaps 5 years before he died, maybe only 2 years before he died, Kurt Vonnegut asked a famous question. And the question is, what is the definitive difference between Adolf Hitler and George W. Bush? Good question, isn't it? I have been known to ask 200 random people in the town of Glen Innes the Kurt Vonnegut question, and one of them, admittedly a doctor's wife, had heard a Radio National broadcast upon the topic, and she correctly answered the Vonnegut question. Probably 49 other people said they couldn't think of any difference, which clearly defined Adolf Hitler from George W. Bush. 49 people couldn't think of any difference. There was another 150 people, and half of them, 75 of them, said George Bush can't speak German, and another 75 said George Bush has no moustache. So 0.5% of people can spontaneously answer the Kurt Vonnegut question. What is the definitive difference between Adolf Hitler and George W. Bush? And of course, as my mother-in-law could answer, she was born in 1930. She was 3 when Adolf came to power. She was 15 when the war finished. The definitive difference between George W. Bush and Adolf Hitler is that in 1933, when my mother-in-law was 3 years old, Adolf Hitler was elected. Adolf Hitler was elected. George Bush was merely appointed by the Supreme Court, who accepted his plea that counting be stopped on the grounds that continued counting may prejudice the plaintiff's claim to become the president. If we count the votes, the plaintiff might not win. And 9 months after he was inaugurated, George W. Bush, the man who stole the US presidency, was found to have lost the election. By thousands of votes, he stole the election. Hitler was elected. Victory, hurrah! It's the translation of Sieg Heil. Ciao!